Hello and welcome to yet another vlog. And yes, in this vlog, we are going to do a quick revision of one of the most important aspects of your syllabus of audit of inter-examination. Good morning, I am CS CSN CMA Nikhil Gupta, and in this video I am going to discuss a very practical and important aspect of auditing profession, not only which is relevant for your course guys, but which is also relevant for your practical applicability. So soon as you qualify your CMA, and if you do cost audit of any company, be it practicing cost accountant, or you want to be an internal auditor of a company, any kind of audit necessarily has to go through one important process, which is vouching and verification. This is the basic procedure which every auditor follows to start their auditing work. This is known as vouching and verification. So we are going to start with topic vouching and verification, and mind you, in your inter-examination, vouching and verification is a very important topic, and it will command about marks of about 5 to 6 marks. In almost all alternate examination, this topic is appearing in the examination also. So let's start with vouching. Sir, what do you mean by vouching? What is the meaning of the word vouching? It is the evidence, like a written record of expenditure, disbursements, or completed transactions. For example, cash memo, sales invoice, purchase requisition slip, bank statement, etc. So guys, what is a voucher? Voucher is a record which will detail out what transaction has taken place in a company. So one of the most important elements of any audit is auditing of the expenditure of the company, whether the company is recording expenditure properly or not, whether it has recorded only the revenue expenditure in the P&L account and not the capital expenditure, whether the expenditure has been paid properly, whether TDS has been deducted on the expenditure properly, whether expenditure is properly authorized by the authorized signatory, whether you have supporting evidences like bill, like invoice, like transporter's receipt, all those kind of things which will prove that that transaction has happened. All these documents will assimilate or accumulate into one document called the voucher. Now, just to introduce you to the practical aspects of this voucher, I have displayed a printout of voucher which is used by many companies in their organization. So guys, this is how a voucher looks like. This is the specimen copy of a voucher. So what will voucher contain? It will contain your firm's name. So suppose your company's name is A, B, C and Company Private Limited. So your company's name will come at the top. Then this is a debit voucher, which means it will include all the expenditures which have come in for payment or clearing in your organization. There will be a unique number to it. Every voucher has a unique number. There will be a credit account to it. Credit account means to whom credit do you want to make this voucher for. So for example, if I have incurred a repair and maintenance expenditure in my organization, I will write the credit account to the party who is performing repair and maintenance in my organization. So suppose the name of the party is XYZ Repairs Company. So a company by the name of XYZ is doing repairs in my organization. When was this voucher made? This voucher was made on say 28th April 2019. Then it will come as serial number. You will write 1. Account name will be, so it is asking you what kind of transaction do you want to debit in your books of accounts. Account name will be, guys, repair and maintenance account, which will be debited in your books of accounts to the P&L account. How much payment did you do to this person whose name is XYZ Repairs Company? So suppose I have done a payment of 28,150 to this person who has raised an invoice. In narration, I will write the narration that this repair was done for machinery number so and so on so and so date, etc. All the details I'll write in narration. In narration, I will also write one more thing, that TDS has been deducted at the rate of say whatever, say 10% of the amount, and the TDS has been deposited to government treasury. All these details will be filled in this voucher. This is known as a voucher. It will be authorized by a person. So for example, if payments of 20,000 and above are to be authorized only by the general manager, so the general manager will sign over here if there are two people who are required, because I've taught you that always two people are authorizing one transaction. So there'll be signatures of two people, general manager and say assistant manager. So two people will be signing this voucher in that case. Then who has prepared this voucher? The accounts executive. The executive who is in accounts has prepared this voucher. So accounts executive signature and name will be written in this voucher over here. Now, sir, will this voucher be only one page or it will be a bundle of papers? Guys, this will be a bundle of papers because this voucher will have the invoice, the inward receipt, the person who has performed, his certificate that he has performed the repairs and maintenance services and the machinery is working fine, all the details which are required to prove that this 28,000 has been spent legitimately for the business purpose will be attached to this voucher, and this will form an audit evidence. So this is known as vouching. Vouching means period, you need to check the period, you need to check the party who's being debited, you need to check the relevant account, whether account has been debited fine or not. So sometimes what happens is some companies purchase some capital assets. So suppose a capital asset has been purchased by the company mistakenly puts it in repairs and maintenance and does not debit the fixed assets account. So that is a problem. You will have as an auditor, you will have an observation that the voucher has been debited to repair and maintenance. However, the supporting evidence in the voucher is for a capital asset. So that will be an audit observation. So this document forms the basis of your auditing spree and your auditing process, and this entire process is known as vouching. So I hope I have been able to make you understand the vouching aspect on a practical side very, very clearly. This is known as vouching. Now, I've told you voucher. Now vouching, what is vouching? Examination by the auditor of all the evidences which are attached, which are supporting the transaction. So voucher has the voucher has several attachments to it, and to verify all those attachments the process is known as vouching. Is the essence of auditing. It is the basic of auditing. Without vouching, auditing cannot be imagined. It is backbone of auditing. Very true that vouching is the backbone of auditing. Now, there are certain kind of problems which you will see while you are vouching a particular expenditure, and these problems are known as teaming and lading or lapping. Now, this is a method of misappropriation of cash. So, what happens is that cash is a very, very risky item in your balance sheet. While auditing cash, an auditor has to be extra careful. Why? Because cash is a fungible item. Fungible item means, so suppose you have three debtors, A, B and C. A owes you 10,000 rupees, B owes you 20,000 rupees and C owes you 30,000 rupees. Now suppose A pays 10,000 rupees to you. To you means to the company in cash. Now the cashier or the authorized person go to Mr. A's premises and asks Mr. A to give cash. Mr. A gives 10,000 rupees cash to the cashier or the person who's visiting Mr. A's premises. Mr. A has given cash and his obligation is now fulfilled. However, while coming back from Mr. A's premises, the cashier decides to siphon off this amount and keep it to himself. So Mr. A has given the money, however, the cashier does not report it in the books of accounts of the company. When he comes back to the company, he informs the MD and the board of directors that Mr. A has not repaid amount and he said that he will take a month to repay this amount. The board of directors says, okay, if he's not paid, then let him give the money after 1 month. After 1 month, Mr. A does not give money to the company because he has already paid the money. Mr. B, however, gives money to the company, which is 20,000 rupees. Now, what Mr. B is handing over is cash and not check. Again, the cashier, who's the notorious cashier of your company, he deposits 10,000 rupees to the company and says that Mr. A has paid this 10,000 rupees to the company, and he informs the company that Mr. B has paid nothing, which means that again, cashier siphons off 10,000 rupees and keeps it to himself. 10,000 rupees he pays to the company and says that Mr. A has paid, so Mr. A account has been squared off in the company. However, Mr. B, he says Mr. B has not paid the money, and the money which is derived from Mr. B, cashier deposits 10,000 rupees to the company and 10,000 he pockets in himself. What happens with Mr. C? When Mr. C pays 20,000 rupees, the cashier goes on to the company and say that Mr. B has paid 10,000 rupees and Mr. C has not paid his amount which is due. This will go on and on and on because there are several debtors which are available with the company, and this will carry on for a very long time. And one fine day, cashier will resign from the company, and the company will then find out that there is a huge debt which is outstanding and the cashier has siphoned off the money. This misappropriation is known as teaming, lading or lapping. So it means concealing the cash shortages and covering them through recoveries of another customer. If you have a cash shortage, then you show it as a recovery of another customer. So the salesman recovered 10,000 from customer C and misappropriates the same, but to conceal misappropriation, he declares that 10,000 received later from another customer D received from C, so that balance of C conforms to client's debtors list. So this goes on and on. How can this error be prevented? Because guys, vouching cannot prevent this error, because voucher would only have the amount which is disclosed by the cashier. So voucher cannot prevent this problem because cashier himself is forming the voucher. So what is the solution? Solution is, please avoid cash transactions. Cash transactions should not happen in a company. I have seen companies, guys, where even a payment of 190 rupees to a chai wala is made in check because that company does not keep cash. Even 190 rupees is paid in check. So follow some rules and do not have cash transactions. Then if you have to have cash transactions, then you should reconcile the cash amounts with the cash books. You should ensure that cash receipts are deposited in bank in a timely manner. The cash should be deposited in bank immediately. Then the most important thing is you should get a confirmation from the debtors. Please don't believe your cashiers and your staff. Get a confirmation from the debtors that this balance is due from them. As an auditor, you should have an independent confirmation from the debtor. You should write a letter to Mr. A asking him that Mr. A, please let us know what amount is due from the company to you. That is a very important step, which is confirmation which is received from the debtors. Now, what is verification? Guys, verification is very closely knit to vouching. Vouching is concerned with examination of underlying document or transaction. However, verification goes beyond vouching. Now, verification is one step ahead of vouching and is inquiry into value, ownership, title, existence, possession, and presence of any charge on the assets. So now, as I told you that voucher will be given to you, and the voucher will contain all the details which prima facie will hint you to a transaction, that this is the transaction which has happened. Now, your responsibility does not end with this voucher. Just after seeing the signatures of general manager and assistant manager, you should not stop. You should go ahead. If this is a critical transaction, you should actually check the transaction which is happening on ground. So you should actually go to the factory and see which machine was repaired. You should ask the company to show you which machinery was repaired. And if it was repaired and 28,000 was spent on that machinery, what is the benefit which is derived from repairing this machinery? What is the old spare and old spare part which has been extracted from the machinery? What have you done with that old spare part? So all these verification processes you should undertake for critical transaction, not for all transaction, because you do not have ample time. Critical transaction, you should go ahead and do the verification. You can, so if you have a voucher of purchase of fixed asset, you can go ahead and search in the market what is the cost of that fixed asset and whether the company has purchased that fixed asset in a proper way or not. You can see after going to the factory whether that fixed asset exists or not, whether there is a fixed asset which is company claims to be purchasing. So all these aspects are to be verified after the vouching has been done. So verification is important after vouching. Then what are the objectives of verification? To find out whether assets were in existence, whether they are actually purchased, whether the title is with the company or with someone else. So you should study the title deed, the asset transfer deed. Then valuation should be studied properly. The company may be showing this asset in a abrupt on a abrupt value, a higher value. You should study whether the valuation is correct or not. And to ensure that assets have been recorded properly, assets should be recorded in the books properly. If any frauds and errors are there, because guys, vouching is just documentation can have frauds or errors, so you should be skeptical in your mind and you should go further and do verification to know whether any error and fraud is happening or not, to find out whether there is an adequate internal control with regard to acquisition, utilization of disposal of assets. Then you have to check whether internal control procedures are working fine to acquiring the asset, whether authorized person is authorizing the purchase of asset, whether purchase of asset you are obtaining valid quotations for assets or not. All those things you have to verify, and after vouching, verification is an essential step. What are the techniques of verification? You can inspect means you can actually count the cash in hand, you can measure the inventory, go and see the inventory, you can see the assets physically, not on the basis of documents, but physically you should go and check. Inspect fixed assets, security, share certificates. You can ask for these documents and you can check whether existence is there or not. Then observation, you can observe or witness the inspection of assets done by others. So if you have a inventory count procedure going on in your company, then you can go and attend that inventory count and see whether the inventory count yields the appropriate result or not. So you can observe the physical verification happening by some other person or the company itself. Observation is also a very important tool of gaining audit evidence. Then confirmation, guys, very, very important, and I think the most important. Take confirmations from the third parties regarding their outstanding demands, and this confirmation should be in writing from the parties, just to check whether the demand, which is the amount which is outstanding in the balance sheet, is actually outstanding or not. So you can just have a confirmation from these external third parties, like fixed assets. If you've purchased fixed asset, then you can send a confirmation to the party, to the vendor, asking him what is the price on which fixed asset was sold to the company. Suppose a company has a bank balance, then you can write to the bank asking them, please let us know what is the bank balance of this particular company. So all these confirmation procedures can be employed so that you can verify that whatever voucher is showing you is true or not, because voucher is prepared by the company, documents are prepared at the company level, so there can be some haphazard things going on in vouchers. But if you verify it from a third party source yourself, it will be a much reliable evidence. So that's all for two topics, important topics, vouching and verification. And a quick time check, guys. Half of May has ended. Now is the time when you have to hit the nail really hard. Because if you don't hit the nail really hard now, you are going to waste your efforts and December might be waiting for you. So now is the time. Just give it your best shot. Leave social media, leave all the entertainment sources which you are having, GOT or Endgame or Start Game or Avengers, whatever. Just leave everything in life and focus only and only on attaining those three alphabets, which are CMA. I know you are inter students, so it is still distant, but your aim should be to attain the tag of CMA finalist. All the very best and happy studying.